It was a long time ago when I was young, and I'd been racing yachts around the world, but I'd previously done a viticultural diploma. And when I returned, I was looking for the hottest, driest place in the country, and it was a toss-up between Hawke's Bay and Waiheke. And my family was from the Auckland area, so I naturally chose Waiheke. And as things evolved, it became apparent that the choice was pretty damn good.
It's incredible what you've managed to achieve here. There's not really that many special places on the planet that can produce Cabernet to this quality and Syrah. So it's pretty incredible what you've been doing here. We've got in front of us a vertical of your flagship wine, the La Rose.
Yeah.
Was this the first one that you conceived of, or it really did start happening for you in the early days, didn't it?
Yes, it did. I'd been before I came back. I'd been working in Bordeaux at Chateau d'Angleterre with Peter Cecil, and
Oh, of course.
and hanging out with the team at Prieur La Chine and going along to Palma occasionally. And then I went to California, and that was the year after Baron Philippe did the joint venture with Mondavi. It was all very exciting there, and I started working in Santa Ynez Valley and hanging out in Napa. And so I was absolutely keen to make a Bordeaux blend. And when I came back to New Zealand in November, it was 81, no one was doing Bordeaux blends. It was very unusual.
With good reason.
Yeah,
It's not an easy grape variety to ripen here in New Zealand, is it?
That's right. So the first thing was to find not only the region which was hot and dry, but to find the site that was hot and dry too. So I was looking for north-facing land, which is the sunny side in our hemisphere, and some drainage in it, so some rocks on top of the sort of clay base. And it took me about 5 or 6 months to find the Stonyridge property.
It's probably just coincidence that it happens to be an island with all of this sort of yachting going on around here as well that you really love.
Yeah, that's true. The island factor is a big thing.
Was a big draw
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
Yeah, because everyone said you can't grow grapes near the sea, and I said, look at Latour.
Yeah.
Look at a lot of the great chateaux in Bordeaux. They're right next to the sea.
And the maritime influence is so important for these greatest Cabernets on the planet, basically.
Yeah.
When you look at Napa as well, you also get that maritime influence coming in as well. So,
That's true. Yeah.
So it does stand to reason. What is exciting for me is looking at this vertical of La Rose, looking at the vintage variation that you get here. We are in a marginal area for growing Bordeaux grapes. And I think mostly, it's those marginal climates around the planet that do tend to produce the best wines because they seem to fully express all of the nuances and complexities of the aromas and flavors that you want to also achieve in Cabernet, as well as that ripeness of tannins. And this is exactly what you see in cooler vintages and warmer vintages, where you're not getting any of that sort of green herbaceous character, and you're getting this lovely ripeness of tannins on the palate, where you've got this graininess and none of the astringency or bitterness that you might associate with underripe fruit. So yes, you hit the jackpot. You can do it here.
Yes, indeed.
I tasted all of these earlier, and I just wanted to sort of draw out a few of the more recent vintages, and let's go back to some of the older ones as well.
Sure.
Your current release, have you released it 2013 yet?
That's all sold.
Okay.
En primeur.
Gone.
Gone, yeah. We've got a pretty active group of wine subscribers, and they snap it up at our en primeur price.
Wow.
And so we wish we had more of that, but that's all gone.
And when will the 2014 be released?
We'll release that in April and then send it out about 8 months later.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I just tasted a little barrel sample of 2014 a moment ago, and what a vintage that was.
I know.
I mean, we can. There's no problem with bigging that up for anybody who's on the fence about whether they should buy it or not, because it was an incredible vintage. Because you've got this voluptuous, almost richness of fruit that's not even typical for Waiheke, and all of those beautiful tannins in there as well.
The encépagement, the blend in the wine, gives us lots of options as we pick and play with the harvest dates of each variety, and that's one of the strengths of the Larose, is we can actually maximize each variety to its optimum time of harvest and ripeness.
Would you say, given that the incredible nature of that 2014 wine that I just tasted, that you're probably producing your best wines ever today?
Certainly in the last 5 or 6 years, so we've got some of the best wines we've ever produced. However, when I say that, the wine buyers say that, you say that every year, and I'm going, no, seriously, we're doing some incredible stuff, and the climate here on Waikiki is changing, and we are getting more hot, dry years, and we're pretty happy about the way it's all going, and we're enabling our winemaking team to achieve some terrific flavors.
The truth of the matter is, there's something wrong with a winery that isn't upping their game every single year.
Yeah.
That isn't looking to improve slightly upon what they've done in previous years. And every single vintage is going to be slightly different. You're working with new raw materials and understanding better how to put those wines together to build something beautiful that speaks of the grape varieties and Waiheke in each of the wine. And particularly in the recent vintages, this is what I see. I see like you were thrown some difficult vintages perhaps in 2011 and 2012. You weren't put off at all. Those wines are beautiful, maybe a more elegant expression of Larose. And then coming back to the 2013, which was another warmer year. And again, that beautiful sort of mid-palate fleshiness, all of the sort of voluptuous nature that you wouldn't normally or use that term here in New Zealand on a Cabernet wine. There you probably more say things like skeletal and all about structure.
Yeah.
Where here you've got this lovely mid-palate flesh coming through in the warmer years, and a wonderful, almost spicy elegance coming through in the cooler vintages.
In the cooler vintages, we back off the percentage of Cab Sav, because that is a variety which doesn't
I noticed that when I was looking at the sheets.
So we what we do is we change the blend. We make less wine, so we declassify a lot of the wine, and we change the blend. And this is not a deliberate thing. This is just, we do this in the tastings. And generally in the cooler years, the Malbec and the Merlot do really well. And also, strangely, the Petit Verdot, we normally hang it out there for long enough that it comes in like an Olympic champion at the end too. So the cooler years tend to, we change it, and so Cab Sav goes from 50 down to much lower, and the others go up.
Originally in Bordeaux, because it is a somewhat marginal climate for all these grape varieties, they planted 5 grape varieties as an insurance policy. When the Cabernet failed, they had the Merlot to fall back on, and all of these grapes helped to support any inefficiencies of the vintage that might have been produced, because all of these grape varieties are somewhat climate dependent, aren't they, and weather dependent.
Yeah.
Recent vintages are very exciting for me. The 2013, of course, was a glorious year. 2012 was very difficult down south, wasn't it, down in the Hawke's Bay?
It was, yeah.
I mean, it was a bloodbath. Seriously. I mean, if anybody was able to make anything, they were lucky.
Yeah.
But you seem to have gotten away with it here.
We believe in the site. Like, it's a magic site here. It's all north facing. It's protected from the cold westerlies and southwesterlies by the ridge of Stonyridge, and it seems to want to pull through. Like, it's the land is going, we can do this, and we've got a lot of experience in our team. We've got something like it's like 45 vintages at Stonyridge, combining all of us. So we know how to play this vineyard, and it's a tremendous vineyard. And we also believe that nothing we ever do is good enough. So we're always tweaking things and having a bit of a play on that.
That's it. 2005 vintage that I tasted. This wine really was very exciting for me to try, because it was clearly a great vintage for you guys, but everything seems to come together in that wine and it is just aging so gracefully.
Yeah.
One of the things that a lot of people say is, oh, New Zealand wines can't age. And here we have a wine that hasn't even reached its peak of maturity yet.
Yeah.
It's nearly 10 years old. Tell me a little bit about that 2005 vintage and what makes it special.
At the time, it was regarded as it was a very good year. Everything worked perfectly, but there was nothing about it that was like one of the greatest years. And then it just seemed to marry in the barrel and in the bottle so beautifully that
Oh, wow.
we're just really delighted with it.
Just amazing on the nose there. I mean, there's still a lot of almost primary fruit, that sort of red berry and blackberry preserved characters in there.
Yeah.
And yet all of those maturing nuances are coming through. The earthiness, the meatiness, lots of spices coming through there. Oak firmly in the background, all really well knitted and married into there. It's just a gorgeous nose.
Yeah.
It really is a perfume that comes exploding from the glass.
Yeah.
And that fineness of tannins that just sort of envelop all of that sort of voluptuous fruit that you've got there. For me, it's incredible that you can produce that caliber of Bordeaux blend here. And it has all of the ageability that you come to expect of a great Bordeaux blend as well.
Yeah, we're very excited. And I was just reminding of a story. I was in a restaurant in Auckland where the table next door had a bottle of this wine, and the waiter came and told me they've just had this, they've ordered your wine, next door. And when they opened it, I could smell it at the table beside. I could smell my own wine, and I was just so proud. I could go
Wafting over.
yeah, this big fruit, complex flavors coming out. I was just so happy and so proud.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Can I go back to the beginning a little bit? I remember when I first visited Stonyridge a little while ago, and you told me the story about how you camped in a caravan.
It was a Honda car box.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I camped there. I had no money, but I was just so happy. I was actually obsessed by this dream, and I would get up. I would wake up at 5 in the morning because I just wanted to get out there, and it was too dark to work. And it was just a period of immense passion, and as I sort of had this dream to make this great Bordeaux blend, but there was no money. So, and then I finally built a aluminum shed down there, and set it up with hot water heating and solar power, and I slept in the same room as I had my cellar on one wall and my room there, and so I slept with the barrels for like 3 years. The first 3 years of vintages I actually slept with the barrels.
Yeah.
So you could never heat the place up too much. And
Can I tell you that commitment really shows in the wines. I mean, there's just so much attention to detail, so much passion, so much commitment to getting it right. And you have to get the vines right. You have to get the fruit right to begin with. And understanding your vineyard so intimately that you can be able to forge wines of true greatness like this. It really does take that sort of commitment. So me hearing those stories, it's just very, very exciting because you can taste it in the wines too, the struggle.
the struggle, it didn't seem like a struggle. My mother used to come along and worry about me, but I was in paradise, and I was sort of camping, and it was very much a boys' trip, but when I look back on it now, I go, wow, that was a struggle. But at the time, when you have a dream, nothing feels like a struggle, because you sort of got you almost visualize how it's going to be. So I wandered around visualizing the trees mature and the vines mature, and before any of it was there.
Here we are, it's
it was,
wonderful.
it was very-
And I've got to say, the wine world today is so much richer. It was an absolute pleasure coming here again to Stonyridge. Thank you, Dick.
Thank you very much for coming.